And then the top six with Chelsea now 6 points outside the top four, but just 3 behind Liverpool. Aston Villa have lost their momentum. Another defeat for them, this time at Wolves on Friday night. Manchester United winning again. And then the top two, City with Arsenal 5 points clear, City with that game in hand. So let's get Gary Neville's verdict on the race for Champions League football next season. Here he was speaking a few moments ago on his podcast. 2-1 it finished to Arsenal. Let's bring in Gary Neville, who of course was watching on high for us. Gary, what's your overriding feeling having watched Arsenal get through this today, but not in a straightforward manner against Chelsea?
I mean, I think from where they were, Dave, a week last Wednesday after the Wolves game, I know Mikel Arteta before the game said that it doesn't matter when the other team that you're challenging for the title plays first, but it really does. I mean, City having to sort of get their points on the board on a Saturday and then Arsenal have to follow them on a Sunday does add that pressure for Arsenal. And I think it's been a really good week for them in 2 games that are quite difficult. The North London derby, obviously Tottenham aren't playing well, but they still have to go there and do a job under pressure after the Wolves game. And then today was a real struggle for them. Not playing well in terms of open play and the fluidity, but getting over the line, and I think that's really important. With all the competitions that Arsenal are in, you're not going to play well every single week, but they had to win 3 points, they had to get over the line and win the game, and they've done that, and I think that counts for a lot.
Gary, the bigger picture, of course, is Arsenal winning their first Premier League title for 22 years. If they are to get there, what is it that they will be leaning on in these last 9 games, do you think?
The quality, their physical strength, the experience of the last 3 years of losing it. I mean, they surely have to sort of look upon what's happened in the last 3 years. They know this is going to be hard work. They've got 10 more weeks of paying these Arsenal fans, watching in the crowd, watching at home sometimes when they're away from home. This is not easy. This is not going to be pleasant at times. It's going to be anxious, but they've got to enjoy the thrill of it. That's why they're here. We always, every single time we come to Arsenal, and we've done this for a number of years, and Patrick obviously played in the last title-winning team, we go over to that 2004 year that's over there halfway up across that stand and say they haven't won the league for 22 years. And they've got to try and get rid of that. And in the last 3 years, they've been up against, obviously, City and Liverpool, and it's been obviously tough for them, and they've lost out in those battles. And call upon the experiences that they've had, dig deep, just dig in like you wouldn't believe, and they're doing that. Look, they're a resilient bunch. They've got a lot of fight about them. They're good physically. I think they're a mentally strong team. I don't think they're weak. I think that a few years ago they were quite vulnerable. They were a bit immature. That's not this group that we're watching out here. I think the complication for them, Dave, is they've got 4 trophies to try and go at. And you can't throw away a Champions League. You can't throw away a Carabao Cup final. You know, you've got to go for every single trophy. So how Mikel Arteta rotates, how he uses his squad, how he stays clear of injury is going to be important.
Could you have a view on that in terms of what should be their priorities, if it does come to that?
I think they've got to, in some ways, take a massive risk, or a calculated risk, if you like, in the FA Cup. That's not to disrespect the FA Cup, but I think you've got to look at that competition and say, right, I've got to trust my second 11 all the way up to the semi-final. I think the Carabao Cup final, it's a one-off game. You've got to play your best team. The Champions League, you've got to go and play your best team. And obviously the Premier League, you've got FA Cups. You know, they do give a little bit of respite for Mikel Arteta to take a risk, and that might be the competition that they do sort of falter in, maybe slightly. Obviously they've got Mansfield, so they'll probably get across the line in that one. But as it goes through, that'll be the one that I think might fall by the wayside.
Gary, you've been there, you've been in this position, you'll remember it very well. Of course, you went on to win multiple titles, but this first one, is it different? Is this going to be a case this evening of in this dressing room, they're going to be concerned about a performance, or is it going to be just huge relief or delight that they've got these 3 points?
No, I think they'll have delight. I don't think they'll be sat there. I mean, look, you always want performance, but it's impossible. I know they've had a week's rest, but Arsenal play nearly every 3 days and have done for such a long time now. It is impossible to play every 3 or 4 days and play at a high level from a performance perspective. It just is impossible. So getting over the line and getting games out under your belt and wins under your belt when you're actually doing that is something that's quite important. They've got that in them to be able to do it. And look, I have to say that the first title that I won was in 95-96, and it was a challenging experience. Your legs start to get heavy towards the end. You start to read every headline. You can't escape it. The noise is constant. I'm very lucky, and we were very lucky as young lads. We had very experienced players who'd won 2 or 3 titles. The one worry, other than injuries and the sort of amount of games that they play, is that they're up against Pep Guardiola's machine, who have won titles, and they haven't got any experience in the dressing room. I mean, Gabriel Jesus has won it, but he doesn't look like the type that's going to be able to get the other players over the line on his own. So the one thing that you would say is that who is the person in that dressing room that's settling everybody down, that's composing them? We had a lot of experienced winners when we were winning it for the first time, and it is hard work, but I do think they'll get there. The experience of the last 3 or 4 years, I think, will just be enough for them.
Gary, thank you very much. That's an interesting point. We'll perhaps expand on that to here, but we'll let you go for now. Gary, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
This season in all competitions more than any other club. Right, let's get immediate reaction then. It was a big game after Manchester City's win, wasn't it, for Arsenal? Here is their manager, Mikel Arteta.
Well, Mikel, a bit of a nervy finale, but a big win. How did you do it?
A big win. I'm very happy. For big periods, I think the team performed in an excellent way. I think the margin should have been bigger at half-time, the way we conceded the goal, and the moment especially that we conceded, it was painful, but as well as the quality of Chelsea, the players, and what they can deliver. So after scoring the 2-1, we had another big chance with Epps, and then the red card, and after that, we should have managed that situation better. We can talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, just from your grin, actually, at the start of the interview, did you find that last, 5, 6, maybe even longer minutes uncomfortable on the touchline?
They are uncomfortable because they have so much quality, and even when they use the keeper, they can get out of this situation with 10 man. We didn't adjust things well, and sometimes that happens. You take things for granted. We didn't play like we played the other action, especially when we had the opportunity to do so. So something to improve there.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about managing the situation better against 10 men. Should it have been that nervy?
I don't think it should have, but I think when you look at Arsenal, the last few games, 4 or 5 games, it feels like that in every game, even though they've not gone down to 10 men in some of those. But you look at Chelsea going down to 10 men, and they seem to, obviously, they played with a little bit more freedom, but at the same time, you'd have thought that Arsenal would have been more organised to try and get amongst them, drop off them, get the ball, and then break into the areas where they can. But it just seems very, very fragile. I felt it. I mean, in the studio, I felt it. But in the end, they got over the line. But it's something that they've got to be worried about because we're not finishing off games. We're not finishing off chances in the first half. I thought there were opportunities for people to take first-time shots or take the shots quicker. They didn't take them. And that's what can happen in the game. If the game goes like that, whether you go to 10 men or not, Gaffer, if you don't take the chances and it's one, the other team will get back in it, 10 men or 11 men.
Yeah, Mikel was saying about we've got to learn, but they went down to 10, they went against 10 men at the Bridge. Yeah. So they haven't learned how to, and they got a point there. And Chelsea actually should have won that game. Again, they created quite a bit with 10 men. So they hadn't learned. They had a chance to learn. What would we do if it happens again? And they showed there that they were very nervous again. And it was one that they, as we said before, they got over the line. And you've got to do that. If you're going to win the league, if they're going to win the league over 38 games, you can't play pure every single game. But when your opponents, go down to 10 men and you're leading the game
at home,
that's a different scenario.
Is that not understandable, given the fact that they're there to be shot at? They haven't got over the line yet in previous seasons.
Steve, it's understandable, of course, because they've not got over the line, and this is the 4th time they're trying. So what's happening is that maybe they're having the ghost of Christmas past. I don't know what's going on in respect of not being able to get over the line more comfortably than they have done in the last few years, and they've got a better squad. It's something that they've experienced it. They know what's going to happen at this stage of the season, and I think they should be prepared better for it mentally. Because what you're seeing in every game, whether it's against Wolves or Manchester City, there's a period in the second half that everything seems to go out the window and our goalkeeper ends up saving everything for us. And I don't think it should be like that with the amount of experience we've got in the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, well, they've been in this situation before and they've blown it in a way. So they haven't really yet gone through that experience yet. If they win it this year and the same thing happens next year, they'll deal with it much easier. It's always. So
how mentally do they deal with it in these last 9 games?
Well, they've got to learn. They can't put their foot off the gas against Wolves. They're 2-0 up, 2-0 up in the second half, and suddenly their performance went completely downhill. Whether they thought they had won the game and we wrapped it up, it's only Wolves, but they're not playing Wolves. They're actually playing against Man City. 3/4 of the games because they've got to keep putting them under pressure, and they've got to take the title away from Liverpool and Man City, if you like. They've won it so many times. That's what we're aiming for. It's not about Wolves. And suddenly, bang, 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 it's 2-2. And their performance went downhill. Now, they've been tested and they've come back again. They've beaten Tottenham and they've beaten Chelsea today. 2 great responses. Now, if they hit a wobble again with a result, which they probably will between now and the end of the season with the cup games they've got in front of them as well, they've now got to they learn from experience. If you do learn, how did we react? We didn't panic. We did this. I don't like the word, they keep coming up with enjoy. We've got to enjoy this. I'm not so sure you can enjoy it. Yeah. I think you can embrace it. You embrace it, it's a bit different than saying you enjoy that pressure or we enjoy losing.
You can only enjoy that pressure once it's done. You can look back and say, okay, we got through it, but you can enjoy it then. You can't enjoy this.
No.
There's no way that as we speak, that Arsenal team are comfortable, whoever they're playing, at the second half of games at the moment. Not the way they're playing at the minute.
You can embrace it in the sense that you take it on. You endure it. You go through it. I'm going to enjoy doing that, but you don't enjoy the actual what they're actually going through when we're dropping points and things. They're trying to approach it in a way, let's enjoy the battle of even dropping points. Yeah. No, you embrace it, get through it and play and go again and learn from the experience.
And let's speak to a man you know well, our good friend who certainly enjoyed winning Premier League titles with Arsenal at the Emirates. He's always smiling, isn't he? Manu T is with... yes, that's you, Manu. Yes, thank you very much. What did you think of that today?
Hard win. I think Arsenal won ugly, but it's 3 points, 3 very important points. I think last week and today there was 2 big derbies, and they had to respond on critics, how they felt, mentally, and they did it. They got 6 points. I remember back in days when we were winning titles, how many times we won ugly as well. So for me, the most important thing is to get the 3 points today.
Yeah, you pointed to those before. When you've come off the pitch knowing that perhaps you haven't been in sparkling form, but you've won, sometimes you got more satisfaction from that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think if you ask this question to the Arsenal players, I think they will tell you that they would love to play differently and to get the 3 points. But I'm sure that Glenn and Ian will agree with me by saying that the most difficult trophy in your career is the first one. So as soon as you win something, all of a sudden the experience and the confidence change like this, You press the button and all of a sudden that kind of moments you have on the pitch, you manage it differently.
So having been through it then, what I've just asked the guys here, for the next 9 games, how do they cope mentally better with this pressure?
Listen, I kind of disagree with everything I've heard, so far for weeks now. I think Arsenal, are still first on the table. They have 5 points gap now. The big games coming, at the Etihad soon. They're still qualified on the four competitions. So far so good. I think if you tell me that it's worrying to watch Arsenal, sometimes they are sending worrying messages on the pitch, I just want to tell those people that Arsenal are first on the table. They've been leading the Premier League for months now. So if they can win like this at the end of the season, that's fair for me. Yes. Fair enough. People can try to find arguments, to make Arsenal weak sometimes, but I think they still win the games, important games, and they are first on the table. For me, this is as simple as that, They're leading the Premier League.
And have been, Manu, since the beginning of October. They've coped with it. So with 9 to play and City have 10, how do you see it now? Do you see it going right to the wire?
I think, as I said before this game, I think quite the same that what we've done in 1998. I don't know if you remember, but we played the Premier League final away at Old Trafford.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that Arsenal, we have to do that as well at the 88. I'm not sure that Arsenal will win every single game until the end. I'm not sure that City will do that as well. They have so many games to play. I think they will drop points, on the way. But I'm pretty sure this game will be probably the most important one.
Great stuff. Manu, great to see you again. Thank
Love you, Manu.
Indeed.
Nice to see you, Manu. Love it to see you again.
Manu Petit at the Emirates. Big win for Arsenal. The other side of the story is a first Premier League defeat for Liam Rosenior as the head coach of Chelsea.
Well, of course, Liam, in the end, it all comes down to the result. But if you look at the performance, was there a lot to like from Chelsea today?
It's been the same story for the last 3 games. Performance. You have performances to get results, and it's the same story. It's the same story. In the ascendancy in all 3 games. And we just, honestly, we're together, because what I never do, if we win or lose a game, is start pointing the finger at players, but it is clear what we need to improve. It's not our football, it's not our attacking play. Our goalkeeper makes some incredible saves today. We need to make sure we are ruthless in both boxes, and to concede 2 goals from corners and to get another red card, that has been the story of our season, and it's been the story of the last few games.
Well, he's not holding back there in his assessment, Glenn.
I think he's very honest. I think that's an honest assessment. He's not digging out people, but he's saying as a collective they've got to put it right. And they're not far from putting it right, He's lost since he's taken over 3 times to Arsenal, ironically.
And they're his only defeats.
Yeah, they're the only defeats he's got, and there's a lot of good things. I think what sometimes, you can beat yourself up too much. Arsenal are top of the league. Yep. They've gone into their house and they've performed really well. I thought over 90 minutes they did okay, more than okay at times. Down to 10 men, and if they went down to 10 men and it was like total Arsenal just controlled the game, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. Raya made some unbelievable saves, and they got themselves in fantastic positions, Chelsea as well, with 10 men. And I think that's where I think Arsenal, the first 20 games of the season were solid. Yeah. You couldn't get through them. As well as they were playing going forward, scoring goals, set plays, you couldn't create anything. You couldn't create much against them. My word, that's not the Arsenal at the moment. At Wolves, at Brentford, today, that you can get at them. That's why there's a bit of nerves hanging around in that stadium at the moment. And Ian's saying what he's saying, and so there is although they're top of the league, there's a story behind the story. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I mean? They're opening.
Is that forward or just at the end of the book?
Well, that's a good point. I think we're just about going into the back 9, as I said before. 9 games to go. Let's say we're going into the back 9 in a major on a Sunday.
Yes. What do you think about Chelsea since Liam Rosenior came in?
I think they obviously look like they're doing a lot of work on the training ground in respect to what they're doing. They look very sharp. I think that there's still a team that's very much, especially coming away to someone like Arsenal, that will play on the counter-attack. Even though they have got players who can, for me, like we saw when they went down to 10 men, they can easily play through a team. I don't know how they're going to do that with that goalkeeper, if I'm totally honest, because I think that there's so many opportunities where he probably will cost them, and he could have cost them today, but I'm looking at a Chelsea side that only need maybe a couple of experienced players, especially at the defence. I think they definitely need a goalkeeper. I think the midfield's fine. Up front, maybe. Another top striker if they can get that. But I think 3 additions to that team, and I think they're starting to challenge. No trouble. No problems at all.
Yeah, it's the goalkeeper. I would disagree a little bit over the season. He's impressed me during the start of the season. He's saving, he's done some good things with his feet. I'm looking from last season, I'm thinking, wow, he's improved. He's got better. He looks more assured. He's simplifying.
You're not going to ask you though, don't you?
No, but today, from the first...
Can you win a league title with Robert Sanchez?
Well, possibly not. And they're not ready to win the league title at the moment, at this moment in time. Outfield and goalkeeper.
But going to where they want to be...
Well, if he kept improving, yeah. But today, from the first minute when he gave the ball away on the edge of the box, he got away with it, didn't he? Do you remember? First minute.
Yeah.
He went back to how he played last year. instantly. So that consistency, if he thinks he's cracking it, no, he's got to go back to basics again, because he has improved. Whether you can win a league with him is another issue. I understand what you're saying, Ian, completely. But I think you've got to give credit where it's due. If you analyse his games this season, he's made some unbelievable saves and saved points. Rather than giving points away, which he was doing last year, he's actually saved them points. That's when you've got a good goalkeeper. Yeah. When they're saving you points rather than giving points away. Look at Man United, the goalkeepers they've gone through recently that were giving points away. And now they've got a steady goalkeeper. They've got a basis to go on. So, yeah, I mean, that team isn't anywhere near ready to go and try and win the league, but it's a very good side that, I agree with Ian, needs experienced player. You know, the Brazilian Silva, if he was there at 35, that's what they need. Someone then at that to just, the youngsters, just put them around the camp. Don't panic. We can do this. We can do that. And then you learn from what those type of players, experienced players.
OK, the reason, of course, Arsenal were asked that big question because Manchester City did their...
United have got difficult games, but they've got a free programme. They've got the momentum. They look dangerous. I actually think against the good teams, they're very dangerous on the counter-attack with Ahmad, Sesko, Mbeumo, Cunha, Bruno. So I actually think those games suit them. I think United will definitely finish third, but I'll probably sat here in 3 weeks on the Gary Neville podcast, which I said wasn't very good before, which is a bit in the game. No, I think United will finish third. And I can't believe I'm saying that from where we were 6 weeks ago, but I just think they've got no distractions. They've got something good going. The momentum's with them. All the teams have got difficult games. They've all got difficult games. They've all got a challenge in front of them. I think United finish third. I think Liverpool finish fourth. And I think Chelsea will finish fifth. I hope Villa finish in the top five. I really do. And look, I've said before, their manager is an experienced, wise guy. And if they get some players back, but the midfield players being injured have cost them a bit in the last few weeks. And I just feel like it'll be Chelsea, Manchester United and Liverpool. The only doubt will be Chelsea or Villa. Chelsea or Villa for fifth is my view. I think it's United, Liverpool, Chelsea or Villa.
Clear as mud. Is that how you see the top four, Daniel? Manchester United and Liverpool?
I do think so, yeah. It's going to go down to the wire, though, isn't it? Villa, I love the coach, I love the players, what they've got going on over there. Of course, Chelsea, if they figure it out and they show their best, they're capable of beating everybody. But Liverpool and Manchester United, I think, are in a better position at the moment, maybe psychologically. I think Chelsea have had their concerns and Aston Villa in a little bit of a difficult patch, but I think it goes down to the wire. I don't think it's going to be one of those where we can be making statements now, because these players and the top coaches as well, they always find a way.
6 wins out of 7 for Michael Carrick in charge, but Gary hasn't changed his position. You might remember when we were here watching Manchester United beat Arsenal, it was a case of wait, see what else is out there. You still agree that's the right approach?
I think, of course, you don't want to rush making a decision, but you have to give him a lot of credit, because Gary was talking about calmness around United, and I think the manager brings calmness and he brings result. So he's doing a good job, and I think that is something that we have to talk about, because it's always difficult when you come into a new club where the teams are not doing well. So that means you need to relieve the confidence of the players. You need to find a system that suits those players to perform, and I think he did it quite really well in a really short time of period.
And really anything but calmness, Patrick, around Crystal Palace, your old club right now. Is it a bit of a shame, do you think, the way it's sort of finishing and tailing off a little for Oliver Glasner?
Yeah, I think it is a shame. It is a shame because he did a fantastic job winning the FA Cup and giving a lot of hope to the fans, and he really built a strong team, physically really strong and competing quite really well. I think Crystal Palace is a really difficult team to play against. And going from winning the FA Cup, seeing the celebration and seeing where they are now, and a lot of confusion around the club, around the manager, around the players, it is a shame for the club, because it is a wonderful football club.
And as for Spurs, Daniel, in a bit of a pickle. No win in 10, 2 defeats under their new manager. Would you be worried about them right now?
I think you have to be. You have to be worried, but they've got so many talented football players in the team, and you sort of think they've got to have some moments within themselves. They have to figure out a way to bring their best, because there's so much talent. It's just, you know, they're not playing to the level they can. They know that too. There's a lot of international guys, top players who have done things in different leagues and have had success here. And I just think that it's surprising to see where they are. It is surprising. I'm sure they're going to be disappointed with how things are going at the moment. And yes, managerial change and all those different types of things. But you got to build this momentum, man. You got to find a win.
Why are you smirking, Patrick? You must have some words. Some words of encouragement for Spurs fans.
No, I think it is sad, of course, because we're talking about one of the greatest clubs in London and in the Premier League. But in the last couple of years, I think this is a club that spend a lot of money with no structure, with no direction, and with quality players. So that means if you don't have a proper structure, if you don't have a direction, you can have or spend much money that you want that doesn't bring you success. And last couple of years, I think, try to understand where they want to go. It is really difficult to explain.